Why Eternals is MCU's most disappointing film. If you have been planning on watching the new Marvel movie The Eternals, you will be really surprised to know that its early reviews are not as promising as one would expect. A film from one of the biggest movie franchises in the world having such a cold response seems fishy, right? Well, keep watching the video because we are going to tell you everything about why the film is not being appreciated. And trust us, you will be surprised to know the reason. Also, we will let you know whether this movie is worth a watch or not, so you don't waste your time. So, let's get into it. This movie was all the hype on social media a few days back, and people were considering it one of the biggest blockbusters of this year because obviously, it is a Marvel movie, and nothing really stands between Marvel and box office success. The movie is directed by Oscar Award winner Chloe Zhao, who directed one of the best dramas and is considered one of the finest writers and directors in the industry. This was also a major reason for the hype around the movie. Despite having such great hype, a big franchise backing it up, and a mind-blowing writer, the news is being circulated that this movie is underwhelming and does not fit the standards of other Marvel movies. The main reason behind the outrage is that the movie is a little messy and all over the place. The storyline is also not really focused, and it feels as if you cannot just follow the story, because the writers have tried to accomplish a little too much and ended up producing a pretty disappointing cinematic experience. People are even calling it Marvel's fourth worst film, which is certainly not good for the movie, because after all these reviews, who would want to waste their precious bucks on a movie that is simply all over the place? First of all, the biggest mess of the movie is when it tries to defend why the godlike characters of the movie did nothing, while Thanos was all up for destroying the whole universe literally in just one snap. People are finding it not only hard but ridiculous to digest, and Eternals is not successful in selling this part of the story to the audience at all. Even the reason does not seem convincing, and critics are just calling it an unwieldy attempt. The Eternals was basically made so Marvel could get a completely new dimension and new stories to tell and add to the overall movies, which we guess they achieved, but the process of doing so was not really convincing. Also, the movie tries to cover around 7,000 years in just a few hours, and it really is not easy to do so. And despite Zoe's amazing abilities, people who watched the movie were just not able to build a connection with it because of its fast pace. The start of the movie really hypes the movie up, but you will be shocked to know that the rest of the movie is really underwhelming and does live to the mark that it made in the opening scene, which is yet another reason why people are criticizing this movie. The movie revolves around 10 super powerful godlike aliens that are sent to Earth from Olympia to fight the gigantic deviants that are destroying the Earth. Seems like a Marvel storyline, right? But wait until you hear the next thing. Marvel is known to give its characters story arches, and all of its superheroes have really strong traits and background stories, but in the case of these 10 aliens, most of them did not add much to the overall story of the movie, and even their story arches were bland and unimpressive. The problem arose when Marvel hired a writer who was famous for her artistic and documentary type work, and she is a master of her trade for sure, but she might not be a good fit for a movie revolving around demigods and aliens, though the characters promote diversity, and you will even see the first openly gay character of Marvel, which is also pretty exciting for a lot of people. But in the sense of storytelling and character development, the movie does not do much, because there are so many characters and so many different plots, it is really hard to follow up, and at one point you will also be confused about who loves whom and who is fighting with whom because, as we said before, the plot really is messy and not tied together properly. The casting is also not convincing for the critics because the characters are not really looking good, considering that they should look like demigods. You can only see them with godlike grace in a few scenes of the movie, and that is pretty much it. The super villains of the movie are also not impressive as well. We were literally shocked to realize that the Great Deviants have no unique features, and sometimes you cannot even tell them apart, which makes the plot even more loosely tied. Also, wherever the Eternals go, deviants follow them, and you would be left wondering that how the hell are deviants following them literally everywhere at such a pace when the Eternals are traveling in a private jet. Yes, you heard it right, but this is just another loosely tied knot of this movie. You will also feel like the movie is a little rushed up and some of the scenes could have been elongated, which would have added a lot of depth to the movie, but we just can't help but sigh at this utterly disappointing release of the Marvel Studios. Even in the climax, you will feel like the complete cast is in a hurry to sort things out and settle it once and for all, because the director cannot afford to make a movie longer than it already is, which gave a sense of rush till the very end. A lot of things were even left untouched and unexplained, which give a sense of unrest to the viewers because not every question is answered in the movie, and the world-saving plot is overused a little too much, which would make you think that you have watched this movie already. Also, the critics are saying that despite having breathtaking visuals and great hype, the movie is underwhelming from the onset because it introduces the characters in an awkward way and the basic plot is introduced in the movie a little too late, which eats up all the excitement for the viewer. Marvel Universe is famous for building each character up and taking enough time to let us relate with a character and find it genuinely real, but the Eternals has thrown all of its characters to our face at once, and we have to figure the rest out by ourselves. The dialogue development of the movie could have been better because Marvel movies are also famous for their greater-than-life dialogues, and people really connect to the characters on another level because of what they say, but you won't be seeing a lot of legendary dialogues in the Eternals, which makes it an ordinary movie with a bunch of demigods. Also, the movie has a comparatively serious tone than all the other Marvel movies. In a story so grand, a few puns here and there help a lot with reducing the tension of the scene and providing a complete package to the viewer. But don't expect to laugh in this movie because it has nothing more than a couple of puns, which is disappointing considering how great Chloe is in writing satire and true human emotions, and it would have been really easy for her to give a little comic touch to the movie, but she decided not to do so for some reason. There are certain reviews that are not bad and are considering the film not only the biggest cinematic experience but also want it to be included in some of the finest films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Though this movie cannot match the storyline and character development of the greatest Marvel movies, it still tries to entertain the audience with magnificent visuals and fight scenes, which would certainly be really entertaining to watch. So, if you are a die-hard Marvel fan, this movie might not impress you, but it still is a decent watch. Just don't watch it with high hopes because you certainly will be disappointed and watch it like any other movie and you will like a lot of things in it. The main problem is that it just does not fit the Marvel Cinematic Universe standards. Otherwise, there is nothing really wrong with the movie, and some of the critics have even enjoyed it a lot. So tell us in the comment section that whether you are going to give this movie a go or not. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon for the latest celebrity gossips. We will see you in the next video. Till then, hasta la vista!